Maybe you caught the news recently when the Supreme Court rejected a motion to remove "In God We Trust" from our nation's motto and money. They denied it because they said the nation's founders affirmed an author of equality and liberty, an author of equality and liberty. And the nation's founders used a different term. They wrote that all men are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, equality, liberty, and so on. Creator, author. This is very big for an enlightened secular society in the 21st century. So thank author for the wisdom of the Supreme Court. That may sound funny, but I mean it. And the nation's founders went further when they laid the groundwork for the uniquely American value, the thing that makes America important to the rest of the world, the American ideal. Now we understand the American dream, we're all living it. But the American ideal can be more elusive because it's complicated and simple at the same time. Simply stated, the American ideal is the merger of equality into liberty. Equal liberty is the American ideal. Why? Because equality, kept separate from liberty, becomes extreme socialism, communism. It abuses humanity and it does not work. And even though history is repeating itself right now, the world knows that it does not work. By the same token, liberty, kept separate from equality, becomes oppression, slavery, segregation. The powerful oppress the powerless, and it does not work. And though a few may say it does, the world knows it does not work. It abuses humanity. And so equality merged in and through the fabric of liberty is the American ideal. And it is complicated and complex and difficult and dynamic. And yet the paradox is that a 4-year-old gets the concept. Any 4-year-old that smears red finger paint into blue finger paint and authors purple on the paper can tell us without a doubt that red and blue are in purple, just as equality and liberty are in the American ideal. Well, given a moment more to think, that 4-year-old can tell us that purple is impossible as long as red is kept separate from blue, just as the American ideal is impossible and does not exist as long as equality is kept separate from liberty in our laws and relationships. Yes, the American ideal is both public and personal. I tested it one morning with 4-year-old innocence. A couple years ago, our granddaughter was spending a couple of hours a day, a couple days a week in preschool. And that and amazing parents and a bodacious brother had taught her colors and numbers and vocabulary. So when over breakfast one morning I put up my index finger, she said, "1, Papa." I said, "Yes, you're right, you got it, you know it, that's right, very good, I'm proud of you." "2, Papa." "Again, you're right, you know this is right, good, you know your numbers." Affirmation builds character in young children. "Papa, everybody knows that's 3. I said, "Well, you're right, everybody does, and so do you. You've got this down, I'm so proud of you. I love you to the moon and stars and back. Thank you very much." And then modeling what we want her to learn, I said, "May I please ask you a question about 3? With a mouthful of Honey Nut Cheerios, her eyebrows went up and she said, "Mm-hmm." So I pulled the 3rd finger down, I put up the other index finger, and I put them together. I wiggled them, make sure she saw 3, and I pushed them apart. And I asked her, "If I always keep 2 separate from 1, can I ever have 3? And She was looking at three fingers wiggling in the air. But she was thinking through the question, if two is always separate from one, can there ever be three? And before long, she swallowed and said, no. She didn't say, no. Without a doubt, she said no. She got it. Do we? Do we understand what it means for equality to be merged into liberty in our personal relationships? It's already been done in the law. What's left is relationship. The rest of this program is America's journey into its ideal through the Revolution, Civil War, Civil Rights Movement,